Want some more sex and violence? With a helping of roller derby, outer space, and criminal trials, that means you miss Skinemax. Pick up my new book, Skinemax, a love letter to all things softcore in the 90s, over on Amazon, which is on ebook, paperback, and hardcover. I hope you enjoy.
Hello again. Welcome back to another Fresh from the Theater review. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I've been pretty busy lately. Past month I've been, no joke, proofreading an entire novel, Skinemax by Brad Jones, aka the Cinema Snob. It's a wild-ass tale that pays tribute to the softcore erotica programming of Cinemax in the 90s, courtroom murder trials, and intergalactic war. It just goes in all directions you couldn't believe, and as of filming this, it's either just about to be released or it already is available on Amazon. So if you're a fan of the Cinema Snob or at all interested in a crazy-ass ride, then I recommend giving it a read. But shameless promotion out of the way, today I'm going to be talking about Wicked for Good, the much-awaited follow-up to the first Wicked movie that tackled, from what I've seen, the first half of the famous Broadway musical. And just like the first Wicked movie, I want to make it clear, I have not seen the play and I have not read the book that the play is based on. I have listened to a couple of the songs on their own, but beyond that, I went into both the first movie and this one pretty much fucking blind. So if I say anything that may seem a little off or obvious to those who are familiar with both mediums, maybe cut me a little slack, but I get it. And the thing about the first Wicked movie is I didn't go in planning to hate it, but I also didn't go in planning to love it either. And shock of all shocks, given that this doesn't really match up with the usual type of movies that I watch or cover on my channels, I thought it was fucking amazing, and no joke, it was the favorite film of mine that I'd seen in the theater that year, 2024. And now that I've seen the sequel, Wicked for Good, I'm not sure if I'm going to put this as my favorite film of 2025, but it's definitely up there, and I think it's a extremely worthy sequel. It's a great follow-up to the first one, and again, they're basically just the one big story, but divided because it's so long. I really loved the first one, surprisingly. It was very entertaining, but it was also surprising. It had a lot of heart, and I remember thinking the first Wicked was basically the musical equivalent of Dune, just with the scale, the spectacle, just the epicness. And this one is on the same level. The scale is just amazing. And I saw Dune Part 2 last year, and while it was a great spectacle again, I found myself not particularly enjoying it that much, mostly in the third act. So for me, when I went into Wicked for Good, my main thought was, will they stick the landing? And I know I'm a bit late to this movie, but again, been proofreading a novel, and now I've seen it, I'll say, yeah, I think they really stuck it here. It was just as grand. It had so many incredibly well done sequences, wonderfully complex characters. The way it ended, and I'm not sure I'm going to go into many spoilers of this review, all I'll say is the way it ends, and I don't know if this is how the play did it, but it ends on a note that almost leaves it open for possible future adventures, but I'm not sure they're going to do that. Nonetheless, I thought it was just incredible ride, and I found myself just pulled in, and it has obviously the usual moments of ridiculousness that you come to expect from musicals, and there are some cliche story moments that you've seen in other types of films like this, but it's handled very well. Like, this is such a well-made film, and the director of this was John M. Chu, whose filmography is a range of music, dance movies, and occasional action film. The main thing that I recognized his name from before the Wicked movies was that horribly received Gem and the Holograms movie. And I just recently found out that he was the director of G.I. Joe Retaliation, so random. And he does a great job here as director, and the cinematography by Alice Brooks is amazing. And yes, there is CGI in this, but there is clearly, like, and the film credits show it, there are so many, it's a good mix of practical and CGI. They use it when they have to, but they put a lot of genuine, hard fucking work into this production. The film opens not long after the wrap-up of the first one, which, and I still remember just how blown away I was seeing Cynthia Erivo, I think that's how I pronounce her name, doing Defying Gravity. It was a powerful note to go out on. They just got you hyped up for what came next, and again, it's the story, it's the twist on the Wizard of Oz that shows that from a different perspective, the Wicked Witch is not as much the villain as she's supposed to have been made out to be. And I remember thinking back in the day, the premise, while interesting, just at times sounded kind of dumb in the fan fiction sense, and also it's become very popular the past 10, 15 years to do stories that try to humanize villains who we've seen many times over the years in different mediums. But the first one was incredibly well done. Cynthia Erivo, she gave a wonderfully complex performance in the sense that, yeah, well, she was put upon, she still had her faults, and Ariana Grande as Galinda, future known as Glinda, the Good Witch. She played a very hard to get behind character at times, who is incredibly flawed, but we see that she's not completely bad. There's many dimensions. Ariana Grande, who I had never really seen beyond the show Victorious, the Nickelodeon show she was on. She really blew me away in the first one, and here she continues to really show a lot of incredible range as an actress. And in the first one, Cynthia Erivo was the top billed actress, but here Ariana Grande gets top billing, and I'm not sure how to feel about that. Maybe it's because they gave Glinda more screen time, gave her more moments of development, but I don't know, it just feels odd. Like, maybe it's because Ariana Grande has become so big, but it feels like Cynthia Erivo should have been top billed, but that has nothing to do with the full film itself. And this whole film just pulled me on a huge train ride of emotions. Like, this is a emotional powerhouse of a film. It has so many punches to the gut, so many moments they'll just get you feeling all sorts of stuff. And I say again, these movies really surprised me in how much I got into them. I mean, I do like musicals, but they've proven just to be instant surprise favorites of mine. And I think if you like the first one, like, you can't go into one without seeing the other, and I think both movies are definitely worth checking out if you like musicals that have very complex stories and themes to them, because there's a lot of very well done, well handled, like the first movie had some deep themes, and this one has them too, and they range from fear-mongering, putting on a facade for the public, manipulation, political manipulation, horrible misunderstandings, and asking the big question of, was it worth it? And it's there, but they do a good job of not making it too obvious. I mean, they make it clear, but it's not like slammed in your face, and that's something I can really appreciate. If there's any cons that I could have with this movie, it would be a few simple character moments. I mean, yeah, it's a extremely well done, well handled story, and there's a lot of amazingly powerful moments, but there's a few characters that I'm not sure were the best handled, or were just written in a way that made it very hard to get behind. The main one, and I'm not sure I brought her up much or at all during my review last year of the first Wicked movie, but the character of Nessa, the sister of Elphaba, the Wicked Witch, who was the favored daughter of her asshole father, and she's in a wheelchair, and she kind of has a romance, although it's a bit one-sided, a bit phony, with Bach, played by Ethan Slater. And the Nessa character, I mean, the actress, I can't remember her name, I'll put it down here, but the actress does act her ass off. The only problem is, and maybe this is how it was done originally, but I really hated this character, and it comes off like the film can't decide how it wants this character to be perceived. There are times where she comes off as sympathetic, but then there are moments where she does horrible, awful things, and she just turns on the people that show her sympathy so hard, so often, and does pretty much whatever serves her best interests. And while you could say the same could be said for Galinda, Galinda is very complex, and we see her internal struggle. We see the good in her wanting to come out more. We see that she does not like what she has become. But the Nessa character, she just seems like a very emotionally unstable shit. And it got so fucking annoying that I just kept thinking, can the house come and just crush this crippled bitch already? Also, the character of Bach, who was pretty much set up, and they do go through with it here. He becomes the Tin Man of the Wizard of Oz, and he was always seen as kind of a pathetic simp, and has just unfortunate circumstances put upon him, and the way they transform him into the Tin Man is very, very well done, but never really goes anywhere. He goes off eventually with Dorothy, and we never see him again. And well, to a lesser extent, the Cowardly Lion is another character who, while he appears, and there's a very good connection, I guess, to who he was in the first film with that, before we even realized it. I found that both these characters, Bach, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion, both of these characters and their, I guess, moments, although I wouldn't call them arcs, because these characters get so little screen time that I just found their whole character stories unresolved. And because we never see any real resolution, they just fucking disappear. And I don't know, I just wish we could have gotten one more scene at the end with both of them just to see where they ended up. The last con, and it's a minor one, and I can kind of understand why they did this. Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, like, this is not her story, but she is here, and she does appear, but weirdly, we never see her face. We see her from the back, we see her from the distance, but we never see her face, and maybe it feels like an artistic choice just to avoid, I guess, comparisons with the original, but I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't have hurt just to see her face just once. It feels weird, like, what, did the film producers suddenly decide Dorothy was the Muhammad of musical tales? They couldn't actually show her. So yeah, those are my cons, and I guess those would be the stuff that maybe pulls it back from being a perfect film, but other than that, I still think this is amazing and solid musical, and it has so much going for it beyond the well-handled themes that I mentioned. There's a lot of great things with the supporting cast as well, such as Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard, who, once again, he sings, and while he's not Broadway level amazing, he is surprisingly pretty enjoyable, and he's kind of on par with Clint Eastwood when he did Paint Your Wagon, where, well, yeah, it's got a little iffy moments, it's still not bad, and overall, he's fun. He's a fun fucking singer. And Michelle Yeoh as Madame Moribel, the evil, like, she's pretty much the true villain of these films, and she's a great villain, and she's a great behind the scenes manipulator. A big part, and I don't think I mentioned too much of this in the last movie review, but Jonathan Bailey as Fiyero, the love interest for Elphaba. I really liked him in this. Like, I really liked him in the first film, and the plot is, as some may know, he and Elphaba love each other, but it's from a distance, and he's more or less pressured into being in a relationship with Galinda, who blindly loves him without ever really getting to know him. He works well with both actresses, and there's a lot of, again, very complex character moments between these three, and if you were to ask me what my favorite song in this was, it'd be a hard one to answer, because there's so many, and the way they're handled is just breathtaking. But off the top of my head, I think my favorite would be the scene where Elphaba and Fiyero finally come together and they sing As Long As You're Mine. I just thought it was there had been so much build up to them finally realizing, admitting their love for each other, that it just felt very blissful, and I just love seeing these two together. It was just beautiful, pulled on the heartstrings, and other songs, probably the most famous one, For Good, between Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. That was an amazing, amazing sequence, and it's weird to admit because I'm not the most emotional viewer of movies, and I did not cry, but I'll admit, some of these songs, the way they were sung, the style, the editing, it honestly got me a little teary-eyed. I'm just like, wow. Like, these actresses, these actors poured their fucking hearts into these performances, and along with the great development that we've seen, it really paid off. I just got so pulled in. Cynthia Erivo, she gives the ultimate tragic performance, and Ariana Grande, she gives, I'm not sure she'll get another Oscar nomination, but She gives the performance of her career, and the best word I can describe the ending of this movie without giving much away is it's satisfying but a little bittersweet, because there's a lot of stuff that will feel heartwarming, but there's also a lot of stuff that will just make you feel like it didn't have to go down this way, but tragedy. If there's any final moment that I could say stuck out to me, and it's a weird note to go out on, but it's just something that got a big laugh out of me. There's a scene where Glinda and Elphaba are standing at the site of the house crashing, and they have a very intense argument that culminates in Glinda slapping Elphaba, and then Ella slapping her, and it was funny, but genuinely surprising. Like, you didn't think Glinda had it in her. And it leads to what could have been a real retarded moment, but it was well handled where they're just rolling around. Not necessarily a cat fight, but more like two siblings bickering, and the relationship between these two, Glinda and Elphaba, is also just, there's many layers. Like, you feel like they want to be together, be friends, but circumstance, the perception of the public just prevents it, and their final scene together just is like the wizard. Hard to make out just how much of a bastard he is, but he has a great line about the truth about him if it was ever to be revealed, saying it wouldn't matter, saying the people, they believe what they want to believe. And in this day and age, that's a pretty easy mentality to understand, or at least believe in. And hope you enjoyed this review. Again, I know I'm a bit late, but had to sort some things out, and I will see you again hopefully soon. Hard to say, you can never tell. And if you haven't seen this movie yet, you know, it's been out for a few weeks, but if you haven't had the chance, I totally recommend giving it a look. And that's that. See you later in this apparently gonna be very cold ass winter.